Before communism took control in China, from 1927 to 1948, China was ruled by the Nationalist Party, or Kuomintang, led by Chiang Kai-shek. Nationalism demanded that China regain equality with other countries, but was ineffective in attempts to improve the people's livelihood or eliminate corruption. Most Chinese peasants faced crushing taxes and brutal landlords under the Kuomintang, and most began to seek change. The majority of Chinese peasants were rural farmers farming crops such as rice, wheat, potatoes, sorghum, peanuts, tea, cotton, and soybeans. The Communist Party of China was formed in 1921. They followed the examples of Karl Marx and the Soviet model of development through heavy industry with surpluses extracted from peasants. Consumer goods were left to secondary importance. The Communist Party soon gained attention throughout China, and this threatened the Nationalist Party. In 1945, the leaders of the Nationalist and Communist Party, Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong, met for a series of talks on the formation of a post-Japanese war government. Both agreed on the importance of democracy and a unified military, and equality for all Chinese political parties. The truce was tenuous, however, and in spite of repeated efforts to broker an agreement, by 1946, the two sides were fighting an all-out civil war. Years of mistrust between the two sides thwarted efforts to form a coalition government. Chiang Kai-shek was determined to destroy the Red Bandits, as he called the Communists. He led the Kuomintang in a series of extermination campaigns against them. In October 1934, the Communist Army was forced into a 4,000-mile march from their encircled headquarters in southwest China. The trek lasted a year, known as the Long March. Mao's forces used guerrilla or irregular hit-and-run tactics to fight back. At the end of the Long March, the Communists set up a new base in a remote region of northern China. There, the Communist Army rebuilt their forces and plotted new strategies for fighting the Kuomintang. During their march, the Communists enforced strict discipline. Soldiers were told to treat peasants politely, pay for goods they wanted, and avoid damaging crops. Such behavior made Mao's forces welcome among peasants. Mao had won the support of China's huge peasant population. Peasants had long suffered from brutal landlords and crushing taxes. The Communists redistributed land to poor peasants and ended oppression from brutal landlords. While support for communists grew, the Nationalists lost popularity. Nationalist policies had led to widespread economic hardship. Many Chinese people also resented corruption in the government and the government's reliance on support from Western imperialist powers. They hoped that the Communists would build a new China and end foreign domination. The peasant support for communists in the countryside helped them capture railroads and surround nationalist-held cities. One after another, these cities fell, and Mao's People's Army emerged victorious. From 1958 to 1960, Mao Zedong instituted the Great Leap Forward, an attempt to hugely increase farming output. Peasants were forced to live in communes, where they lived together and shared possessions and responsibilities. This effort turned out horrible for the Chinese peasant, who faced terrible living conditions and starvation. 55 million Chinese peasants starved to death during the Great Leap Forward. In 1966, Mao launched the Cultural Revolution, a movement to purge China of its bourgeois political enemy tendencies. He urged young Chinese to experience revolution firsthand. Chinese youth formed gangs called Red Guards and waved copies of Mao's Little Red Book, or a propaganda book. Many people thought to be political enemies of communism were publicly beaten and sometimes even killed. When communism took control of China, they were supported by millions of peasants who thought Mao would give them a better life, but they were soon met with action that caused pain and suffering throughout their communities.